And hello, golfing world. Welcome to TGD Today. It's Tech Talk with Al Cloyd, and Al is in the house.
That's right.
It's good to see you, Bubba.
Hey, it's good to be seen. How you doing today?
Well, I'm doing well.
Good deal. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
HR3, how's life treating
We
you?
got Slime over here.
I'm moving.
That's right. And then we've got Mighty Mouse.
Mighty Mouse.
Feeling good.
Good.
Adam Larkin.
Adam Larkin, PGA.
PGA.
A
New
long
York.
hitter. That's what I hear. That's where he gets his nickname from.
Spanks it.
For his, yep.
And I think he'll find your subject matter today quite interesting.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
the first, yes, sir.
he has issues with his loft.
No problem. Well, I tell you can't beat it. We're going to talk about some loft. One interesting thing that I want to bring up that just before we get into loft, there was an announcement made. I don't know whether you guys have heard this yet or not. TaylorMade is coming to Myrtle Beach in a big way.
Really?
They're going to open up an outlet store at Tanger.
At Tanger Outlet.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So just want
Is
to go
it
ahead and get that
clothes
out there.
or clubs?
It's going to be clubs. It's going to be Adams. It's going to be TaylorMade. It's going to be Ashworth. And it's going to be Adidas.
Okay. So a mixture of everything.
Mixture of everything. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well, I
correct.
wonder what the big box boys are thinking.
That's
That's
what
a real good question.
That's because we know a couple of the places are in really tight. With TaylorMade.
Yeah.
So this could be very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I just put a thing like, gee,
So do you
another golf shop.
perceive
great.
it to be an outlet? Do you perceive
Yeah,
it to be, they take their clothes out product and stuff like that, older product?
Well, they'll have new stuff every month.
Yep. Because they, yeah.
That's true. It's a month-old product. Yeah, that's one thing about TaylorMade, dude. You go to sleep and there's
You
something
wanted me
new
to wake
tomorrow.
up and say something? I just came
That's
up
a
with what
fact, Jack.
Perfect.
Yeah, man. I'll second that one.
Yeah.
But that's just a little bit of news there that
Little bit of
I thought
news.
I'd go ahead and
Do we have a date?
no
or-
dates yet.
No date.
No dates yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just announced yesterday.
Then we may never see it.
So
Okay.
Yep. But anyways, supposedly
Okay,
it's
well,
all in line. But
Good start.
so let's get a hold of loft.
Loft.
So, loft.
We'll talk about Adam's loft.
You can't beat it. Well, everybody's hitting clubs further these days. There's just no two ways around
Except
it.
for me.
Versus
Yeah.
versus back like say in the 80s, the 90s. Now we're looking at 2000 and on. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the loft on irons has changed tremendously through these years, and the length of the clubs have also changed through the years. So,
Okay.
what's happening now is we're having to incorporate a lot more wedges in the bag, because what they've done is they've strengthened the loft on these irons so much that when you get down in the short end, there's nothing left. Is the problem? So let me give you a little bit of a scenario. Say for instance, back in the 80s, a 3-iron was 38 inches long. Well, today it's 39. Okay, so we're talking an inch of shaft growth. In the course of 20 years of progression.
Well, I wish I've seen that.
That's right.
Yeah.
No mercy.
Yeah.
And then like if you take a standard pitching wedge, which is very, very interesting from back in what we called old standard
50.
was 50. That's exactly right. And then we went from 50 to 48. Okay, and that was in the 90s.
Okay.
Okay. And then when 2000 came along, they started going to 46. Okay. Now it's not uncommon at all to find a 44-degree pitching wedge.
Which is a 9-iron,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
technically speaking.
Technically. Yeah, if you go back, and look at the numbers, it's just, if you look at the old numbers, like say for instance, 44 degrees on the old standards would actually be right between an 8 and a 9 iron. It would be a strong 9 or a weak 8.
And that's
Well,
based off the old standards.
You look
right?
at the old standards,
Yep.
you had a 40-degree,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a 50,
Yep. Yeah, 50, and then
and then it would go 44,
Mm-hmm.
which was an 8,
Yep. Yep.
and then it would go to 40.
That's correct.
So then when they went to 48, it went to 42, 38, and so on and so forth until you got to the 5-iron. Then it went up in threes.
That's correct. Yep. or
Now-
even to 5.2. Usually, sometimes the 5 or between the 3 and the 4 was 2.
Yeah,
give or take
so,
the manufacturer.
You look at it now. I mean, and it's funny. I mean,
It's really- yeah.
I'm not going to
But you
single out
say-
the individual that I'm talking. But we go in and we hit in the simulator the other day. And we're testing my clubs the way they're bent because mine are basically bent to old standard.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm more at 49 at a pitching wedge, not 50, but I'm not 48.
Right.
Back
Yep.
then that was a big. That's when ping came out, and ping came out a little stronger.
2 degrees.
Yeah. So, and I played ping through most of my career. Well, now all of a sudden, I go in and I grab a good friend of ours club, and I'm standing there trying to hit these new fiber wound shafts, whatever these things are called.
Yep.
He goes, hit these because they feel great.
Steel fiber,
And
yeah.
they feel great. They're great. I'm standing there hitting his 8-iron as far as I'm hitting my deadgum 6-iron.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going, dude, this looks like my 6-iron. And I look, and it's an 8-iron. But that's how strong these kids and the way everybody's doing it, they're bending these clubs.
Yes.
Al,
So
you
you see
refer
this
to
stuff
the
on
old
TV.
standard. He refers to the old standard. I understand why he does it because he can't remember. So you refer to the. I mean, but
If you're looking-
does that say it has to be that standard? I mean,
No, I mean, you can play whatever loft you want. I mean, Ryan Moore, he played a set of clubs that were 5-degree increments from club to clubs and didn't even have any numbers on them. They were just loft rates. So, but like, just, like I say, for instance, what we're talking about is before, if you had a 50-degree pitching wedge, you'd probably have a 55-degree sand wedge or a 56. And then if you carried a lob wedge, it'd be somewhere around a 60. Well, then when they went to 48-degree pitching wedge, and then all of a sudden there's a big gap between the 48 and the 56. So that's why the 52
The
came
gap
into place,
wedges.
the gap wedge.
Yeah, the
that's
gap
where the
wedge.
gap wedge came into place.
yeah.
Okay, so then, you start looking at the 46, which is even stronger. So from 46, then you start looking at like a 50-degree gap wedge. Okay? And then like a 54-degree sand wedge and a 58-degree lob wedge.
Now, this brings up a great. I had a gentleman Sunday that got into an argument with me because he says, "Oh, I need to hit a 60-degree wedge." He says, "I can't hit one now, but I need one. Do you recommend more bounce or whatever?" I said, "Have you ever tried a 58-degree wedge?" And he goes, "Oh, no, it has to be 60. It's not a lob wedge if it's not 60.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
The ignorance of people and what they read.
Do you
and
see,
it's
that's right.
ridiculous.
That's why I'm saying
Yep.
that, we put a name on a club.
It's not ignorance, guys. That's what's being printed.
That's right.
That's the education they're getting. It's not because they're ignorant. It's because they read. They want to learn about the product, and that's the information that's been put out there.
Well, no, and Jeff, you're correct to a point. But that's where instead of reading something,
You got to understand,
you
guys.
go see someone that knows what
let me
they're
let me tell
doing.
you something. You've lived in it all your life. And several of you guys have. The average golfer has no idea about what they're looking at other than what they're told by the manufacturer. You
That's
got to
true.
understand that.
That's true.
You got to understand that's the real world. Less than 1/10 of 1% of the people in the world know what you know about golf, and they don't know where to find it except right there.
I could take
Yes,
a
sir.
head. I could take a head that's got a 60 number on the bottom of it. Mm-hmm. I could bend that thing to 48 and hand it to an individual, and they think that was 60
Sure, they don't
degrees
know
of
it,
loft.
guys. They don't know any better
They
because
have no clue
Yeah.
as far as line of sight, eyesight, and being able to figure out, well, what is that 60 base off of? Is that butt line 0 here and then there, or is it measured from here back? Or they have no clue. That's why he was arguing with me was, if it doesn't have a 60 on the bottom of it, I can't consider it a lob wedge. And Jeff's exactly right. They have, as far as these lofts, you can sit and tell them, they're 2 degrees strong. What does that mean to them?
And then you talk about go see somebody. Look, where do they go? The places they go are big box stores. I won't mention any names and
That's
things
right.
like that. You got to understand the average golfer doesn't have access to the information you guys are giving them right now. Until now,
Understood.
That's one of the reasons we're doing this right now is
Well,
because
let me.
And I guess it came across wrong, but it just comes to the point to where, stop reading. There is some good information on the Golf Channel, with specific people. Not everybody that's on there, but specific people give good information. But you've got to find, if you get into something, whether it's a mechanic, you don't just take your car to any
Yeah.
mechanic.
But the Golf Channel is not giving this information.
No,
No,
sir.
no, no.
Nobody is,
but-
except you guys.
But it's like, and yeah, I guess I'm backing you up, and you're right in that I'm actually maybe the ignorant one
No,
in this
it's-
situation
it's-
because I've always played a 54 and a 58.
Dude, let me tell you something. I played golf since I was 20 years old and didn't know what the lofts of my wedges was.
Yeah.
Okay?
Except for the number on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
That's all you knew.
Yeah, and and I knew that I had a gap between that I needed to fill at some
Right.
point. So when I
Right.
got new clubs, I said I think I need 4 wedges instead of 3.
Right. But do you know if your wedges are forged or cast?
I have no idea.
There you go.
See that?
I have no idea.
Because they'll weaken if they're forged.
And-
they'll weaken
They'll
over time.
change.
And I think I know more than the average golfer because I produce about 1,000 of these shows a year.
Yes, sir.
And I get to hear you guys. But still, every time you guys start talking, I learn. And I think that's why this is such a great show, because you start talking about that, and I'm thinking, man, this is the kind of stuff that most people really never
they
get
don't
exposed to.
Al.
That when you talk about the difference of
Yeah.
the old standard and the new standard, and then your question, George, is it okay or not?
Yeah.
Just know that it's different.
Oh, it's
You know?
different.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's relative to the individual. It's relative to what the person's raised with and used to. And then,
Big time.
like Al was talking about, you need 4 wedges and this and that. I don't think you necessarily need that. I think it goes back to the point of the instructor being able to teach the person how to change gears. And that way you've got your clubs there and you know how you can hit this 180 yards or you can stand there and hit it 160 yards.
But-
Yeah.
And the instruction is this: find instruction.
Yeah.
Find somebody that
definitely.
knows and you can trust. And there's a lot of bad information out there.
Oh,
There are a lot of people out there who are teaching who don't play well themselves. So.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Really?
Yeah. And they're teaching because they can, basically.
Well, that's all.
Definitely.
It's the only people
And
that'll
then-
take them.
That's it. And
Moving
then,
on.
Yeah, you start looking at, right around, in 2000, we went 40, 46, then 50, 54, 58. And now we're looking at what you're seeing with sets now is you're actually see a pitching wedge, a wedge, and then a gap wedge. Wrap your head around that one.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh,
Whoa. So my wedge is not my pitching wedge anymore.
Well,
Your pitching wedge,
talking about
the true pitching wedge hadn't been a pitching wedge for a long time. It's been a 9-iron,
Yeah.
Yeah.
A weak 9-iron.
a weak 9-iron.
but the amateur golfer, they don't know that.
No.
They don't, and they do. Do they? Should they care? Who cares?
Well, I mean, it's the oldest.
do they care?
It's the most common trick out there now. Is here, hit my pitching wedge. Look how far you hit it.
Oh goodness, yeah.
know.
I was just going to bring this up. You go to a big box store, and if I'm getting paid a commission to push a special club that month, whatever, I'm
Not you, but the average guy, George.
the average guy. if I'm saying, I could go take a 9-iron, put it on the loft lie machine, juice it by 3 degrees. Al, am I right?
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, where you hit I'll tell you, okay, you hit your 9-iron here. And he hits it on the sim, and it goes 110 yards.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Then he hits my 9-iron that I just juiced in the back room
Yes, sir.
and bring it back up and say, I just need to clean it off from the last guy. And I bring it to you. You now hit it 140. Guess what? I just made another commission check.
Yes, sir.
Because you're going to
Absolutely.
buy that doggone thing.
Absolutely.
And secondly, you didn't hit the 8, you didn't hit the 7, you didn't hit the 6. None of them have been touched.
Exactly.
So when you get your clubs or you buy them off the rack, they're different than what I just let you hit. And then you're going to go out there and none of them are going to perform, even to the wedge that you just hit. None of them's going to perform the way you saw in that sim.
And no offense, I'm going to put it to you this way, and I don't care if I get in trouble. I really don't. You can go in the box store. They can walk up to the simulator. You were looking at clubs, and you got a salesman person telling you, okay, here, hit yours. Oh, but there's a glitch in the machine. Hang on, let me reboot this and get it correct. They juice it, give you the new one, and you hit it 15, 20 yards
That's right.
further.
That's right.
I've seen that happen firsthand, and it happened to me. Mm-hmm. They didn't know who I was. I went in
Absolutely.
blue jeans and a T-shirt and a hunting hat and was hitting balls.
Yeah, you definitely didn't have that on.
And they looked and went,
Yeah.
man, you see how much further you hit that? And I said, yeah. I said, let's check something out. And I went to push it on the machine. He goes, you can't touch that thing. I said, oh, yeah, I can, because look how you juiced it.
Yep.
You know, and all of a sudden it was this big. Don't expect people to quit treating them like you're a used car salesman.
Yep.
You're not trying to sell them a piece of junk.
dude-
Sell them quality stuff.
But
Exactly.
dude, that's our industry.
But
right
that's
now.
ruining golf, George.
It is.
I know.
I agree.
I'm not arguing with you, dude. That's the way it's been taken. It's commercialized.
It frustrates me.
It's the dollar. It's the almighty dollar.
Yep, I'm with you. I mean, it's
And we mentioned
frustrating.
this about a manufacturer just a few minutes ago. You come out with clubs every month. You've got to make some sort of a marketable separation between your own brand. You know, drivers. If I've got a 9.5 degree driver, that's the loft of the driver. Okay.
Yes, sir.
How am I taking a hosel and moving the hosel 8 different ways? And I mentioned 8. That's what Callaway's is. I move that 8 different ways. How am I changing? Because I can move that down 0.75 or I can move it up 1.5. How am I changing the face angle on a
Yeah.
driver?
It's effective. Basically, there's different charts that you can look at. But when you close the face or you open the face of the driver, the loft is affected.
Okay.
Tremendously.
Physics.
Oh, no doubt.
No doubt. And it's no different than when we had wooden drivers and they came with steel shafts and they had whipping. You'd look at them and they almost looked hooked. So you take it, and my father taught me this when I was Abby's age, 13. I could sit in a chair, put it over my knee, and bend it slightly in the neck. Not on the wood, but where the shaft goes into the wood part of the neck. And bend it to open it so it had a little bit of goose to it, and the club would sit more this way. De-lofted it and made it look like I wasn't going to hit a hook with it, and I could sit there and pure the thing, and it would go lower.
But you
That's what they've done with these adjustable necks. Instead of having to bend it over
Yep.
your knee,
Yeah.
or like
Or
being
take it
with
to
the
a-
original metal woods, putting them in the machine and trying to bend them.
Yep.
Now you
Trying
can move
to
it
bend
without
them.
having to bend them.
But Al, I find that one of, and I'm throwing a number out here. I don't have any hard data, but I would say 1 in 3 to 1 in 4 fittings that I do, where there's a club that has a hosel adjustment, whether it's driver, hybrids, irons, whatever. Some of these things has just gotten off the map.
Oh, no doubt.
I find that in 1 in 3, 1 in 4 fittings, that I have to take a few minutes and take this club apart and explain what this does.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. They're totally the average person.
I'll take the time to do that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But
Definitely.
other than that, they have no clue.
No. Well, I'll be honest with you. Being in the business, when Titleist first came out, with the 910, which had a the hosel adjusted with 2 different settings, it took me a little while to wrap my head around it. And I'm, in the industry.
All right.
It really, you got to really do some studying and,
Right.
Cause and effect.
Right.
So there's a big learning curve.
We talk about old standards as far as pitch and wedge being this, wedge being this, 9-iron being this, whatever. We talk that in relation to current numbers. I mean, the big story for us, what was this back in the late 80s, 90s, things like that. Ping came out and everybody knew that they were juiced.
Yep.
And they were juiced they were normally 2 degrees strong,
Yeah.
would you say?
Yep. Half
And
club.
and then
Plus they were cast.
bingo. And then they were cavitied.
Yes.
I mean, they
Solheim
were really
was a
the
genius.
first. They
Yeah,
were.
that's
I
what-
mean,
yeah.
Karsten was
ahead of his time.
Not only in his putter,
Oh,
but
yeah.
also in the
the
club.
perimeter weighted cavity
And,
back. I was
yeah,
thinking
he-
about that last night.
He put all the weight at the bottom end of the club, and you're going, whoa, 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 whoa. Where's the thin top line? And your better players were going, there's no way I could play that. That's a hunk of metal laying
I
down
made
there.
a lot of money playing it because it made it a lot easier not worrying about it digging, and you
There
hit
you
on the
go.
toe and the heel and you got
There
away
you
with
go.
it. And,
But how many years did it take for the pro to sit there and go, my gosh, this not only is big help for the amateur or the beginner, but this is also tremendous help for me.
Well, sure, that it was very important, but I think the biggest thing was how Carson changed everything from a manufacturer standpoint to the average Joe and being able to sell golf clubs. And started out running the rest of the competition, and they went, hang on a minute, we need to sit back and look at this.
But Mr. Karsten did this because of his love of the game.
He did. Yes, that's correct.
I mean, out of his garage, he did this for the love of the game. He saw his fellow golfers
Struggling.
weekend golfers.
Yep.
Trying
Struggling
to
with
take
the putter.
trying to take a tour blade and go out and get the ball airborne
Yes.
or hit a 9-iron 100 yards.
Is that not what I just said?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Okay. It's what you said.
I'm not. I mean, but
Let's move
but
on.
No, you're
Let's-
dead right. So that's why it's what it is.
Yes.
It's because he actually took it and helped the average person.
That's
which
right.
helped.
I'm
Actual
agreeing with you
sales.
wholeheartedly.
Yep.
And so
But I'm making the transition now. It's not about the amateur golfer. It's about the marketability, the color, this insert versus that insert,
The
this
scientific
hosel
aspect
versus
of
that insert. Are the clubs hitting the balls too far now?
No.
There's that argument.
well, like we had this conversation yesterday on the short game tee
Yeah.
at Possum Trot. You think about the years back.
I'm wrapping it up, Joe.
Just 2 seconds. Wilson came out with the Wilson Reflex Iron, and the USGA made it illegal. Okay, because it had a cavity behind the face and it would rebound like a tennis racket. Oh, you could hit 5 irons, 220 yards. Well, what are they doing now? Every golf
Same
club
thing.
you see coming out now is on that technology from 25, 30 years ago.
That's correct.
And it's legal now. So,
So-
what some of these people did back in the day and we thought they were nuts,
They were
now they're
innovators.
absolutely
Geniuses.
I mean, we saw Ping end up with a lawsuit. Square grooves. It was being banned. Square grooves are banned. What are they doing now? They're putting grooves inside of grooves. They're putting grooves outside between the grooves.
Well, I think something that you're
You know?
going to see happening and see this happening right now with drivers is we're selling drivers or the industry's selling drivers off of what the pros hit. Okay, and there was all this hoopla about and TaylorMade's the one that started out high and forward center of gravity to hit the ball, get more lofted up. But in reality, an amateur is going to hit the ball better if the center of gravity is low and back. Now I'm hearing people start to use that and say that again. If you sell an amateur a driver based on the way the pro hits it, he doesn't hit it good, he's going to go get another one, probably some other brand.
and he can't hit it in the air.
Yeah, exactly. So
Oh, yeah. The bend points
there's
are
a
different.
disconnect right there.
Shafts are different
Absolutely.
between a professionals club versus an
I
amateur
just
club.
find it hard to believe.
Every person that walks in my shop, I tell them, they say, oh, I saw this person hit it, and I saw this person on TV hit it. And the first thing I tell, well, that ain't the club you're about to try.
Yeah.
But I mean, why make
Sorry.
driver thickness and rebound effect from a driver different than a 3-wood, and there's no limits on a 3-wood or a hybrid? Why do it to the driver?
Yeah.
If you're going to hit them all, let everybody hit it as far as they want to hit it, and then they still got to score.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing on it.
In actuality, guys, we sit and look at it for the real high swing speeds like Adam Larkin sitting here who, dude, you got to shut up sometime. I can't get a word in edgewise.
He just said get
This
a refund.
is my damn show.
He just said get a refund.
Yeah. We are seeing right now, especially with the driver, the thickness of the face, they're pretty much at the extreme right now.
Oh, no doubt. They've been there for a while.
We're seeing a lot more instances of faces collapsing,
Oh, yeah.
cracking. I mean, I believe they've reached almost the end of the envelope. Now the manufacturer is going inside the head and trying to figure out what they can put behind the face, capturing the acoustic pulse that's created when the ball compresses and
Yep.
then releases, and they're trying to see what they can get behind the face to support it better.
Well, what you're going to see happening right there, I saw several drivers cut apart, and those face plates that are welded onto the face of the driver, from looking at one of the major brands and how big that face plate was, and then how they're starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Because if you think about it, if it's this big, and I'm showing this, you people can't see it on camera because I don't have a camera on me, but if it's welded there versus welded here, a wider, then you've got a little bit more trampoline in the middle.
You will, but you'll also have a weaker surface that won't last as long.
But we're still talking about amateurs and how
Yeah.
and them hitting the a larger sweet spot. That's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which
And
which we go back to, what do you use to grip the club? Your hands.
Yeah.
What do you use to underneath your hands? Your grip.
And
then that shaft.
Yep.
Without those components, I don't
Yep.
care what head you put on the end of it. I could take a brick on a broomstick and give it to this young man right here, and he can pound the crap out of it. Okay? Can I do that? No. So it's vitally important. It's just like with irons. We've talked about loft. I don't care what iron head you have right now. If you don't have the right shaft in it because of
dead in the water.
because of the technology today,
Yep.
if you don't have the right shaft in combination with that, if you just buy a steel shaft off the rack, that's probably not the right club for you.
No. And another thing, like just one real quick one, talking about driver acoustics and reverting the energy back to the face quicker. There's guys that's been working with this for years. Mac Burris, Burris Golf, which actually ended up going under. They had a power sphere, a dome, in the sole of their club, which was designed to revert the energy, right back to the face. So they've been playing with this technology for a long time.
Well, dude, I still believe that they're all chasing the hammer. Okay.
You got to yell really loud though,
Yeah.
before you hit it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really loud.
Don't you have one of those? Didn't you order one of those?
Ain't
and
gonna
get-
touch it.
and get the T-shirt.
Dude, I don't even get to play golf anymore. So
Oh God.
I'm a
Heather,
washed,
come get him,
I'm
take
just
him
a
home,
washed up
please.
has been. I'm just gonna sit here and talk golf and.
Adam, thanks again for your valued input. Hey,
It was-
good show, Dr. Grind.
Thank you, sir.
Well done. Tech Talk with Al Cloy.
Thank
This has
you.
been TGD Radio and TV, produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for the Golf Director. When visiting the Golf Director, be sure to check out our featured course pages where you'll find up-to-date information about course conditions, specials, and much, much more. Hey, need help with your next golf vacation? Just call Dave. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That's hashtag Just Call Dave. Give us a call, 844-GO-GOLF1, 844-464-6531. All of our programming is archived for listening and viewing on demand. To catch up on any show you may have missed, click on the TGD Radio or the TGD TV tabs in the menu screen at thegolfdirector.com. Hey, we're now available on over 1 billion devices, so I don't want to hear anybody complain they can't get us. iTunes, Audio Realm, TuneIn, YouTube, Ustream, Roku, Blueberry, and Myrtle Beach Golf app. George Honeycutt, Hugh Roy III, Adam Larkin, Al Cloyd, and, of course, Jeff and Big D behind the glass. We want to thank you for tuning in, and there's more golf news and information coming up next.